Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next episode of the Business Case for Polkadot in partnership with Polkadot Blockchain Academy. And it is my great pleasure to introduce you today co-founders of Freeverse and creators of Laos Network. So today with us, I have Alessandro and Tony, who are going to talk about their journey into Web3. And as usual, we're going to dive into Polkadot ecosystem, its benefits for businesses, and we're going to find out why founders choose to build in Polkadot. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on stage Tony and Alessandro. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, pleasure to be here.
How are you today? Where are you dialing in from?
We're in Barcelona, a sunny city these days.
Yes.
Well, greetings from sunny Valencia. We are in abnormal 28 degrees, something like that today.
Wow.
So it's a sunny day and a sunny day for our episode. And of course, I'm sure our community is very much looking forward to hear about your journey. So I'll start with you, Alessandro. We know that you're also a graduate from of Polkadot Blockchain Academy, and today we're also very excited to learn about your experience and learn more about Academy. And right now there is ongoing Academy cohort happening in Hong Kong, and next one is planned for May. So I hope those of you who are technical or founders, you will be really interested to know how to join, and will hopefully join to advance your skills or to learn more about Polkadot. So Alessandro, I would like to give first the word to you and ask you, what was your journey into Web3? How did you get in here? And why did you decide to build a blockchain project?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody, first of all. I am a computer engineer, and I'm very focused and I'm really passionate about mission critical project. And so in my past, I put myself inside critical project like Space Observatory and Dolby, where I met Tony. And after the Dolby experience, I was searching for new adventure, if you want. And so we have a coworker that introduced us to the Bitcoin, and that was my first first contact with the blockchain. And then after I left the job in Dolby, I just started to find new ideas. And the Web3 space was open and was following the community and open source strategies and so forth. Was very easy for me to just join and contribute to various projects. The first project I contributed was iOS, that is a current blockchain actually. And then I just received a call from Tony that asked me if a new company. And so in front of a couple of glasses of wine, we just, I accepted, okay, because it was a challenging thing and I like challenging things. And so this is why I entered in the Web3 space. And we created Freeverse. That was the beginning. Do you remember the time?
Of course.
Yeah, it was very exciting. And then after a couple of years working on Freeverse, we just, at the beginning, we had a layer 2 in our second phase, if you want. We were trying to scaling, we were scaling NFT. We're trying to propose a solution to the problem of scaling, but we were more or less happy about it in the sense that was working, but there was some problem like of centralization, little problem. We were not very happy. So this is why I joined the Polkadot Academy. So I went there to just understand better what are the technology and whatever. And so that's how I arrived at the Polkadot Academy. That was a very good decision, actually, from the company point of view.
Thank you, Alessandro. That would be my next question. I would like you to dive deeper into how the experience is structured in lectures. But first, I would like to hear from Tony. Tony, what is your journey into Web3? Like, you have such a portfolio of projects, and over 30 patents. So we would like to learn more about your career and how did you discover, that blockchain is the next thing you want to do, and what is captivating for you in this technology and in particular in Polkadot ecosystem.
Sure. So yeah, my background is in physics, theoretical physics, string theory. I was doing my postdoc after a PhD in London, and mathematics. At some point, I quit academia to start in more applied sciences, if you want. I became eventually director of an audio group in a technology center here in Barcelona that eventually created a cinema sound technology that these days it became Dolby Atmos, basically. If you go to the cinema and you hear Dolby Atmos around, one of the creators is myself, from research to actually to product. It went really well. We made a startup. It was eventually acquired by Dolby, and inside Dolby it became super. Basically, we conquered the world. Is now basically the one option. It's even used in cinema, music and streaming services and etc. It was all great. But having this background in mathematics and I'm always looking for also challenges. I was following Bitcoin as well, like Alessandro mentioned before, because we had a coworker on it. And yeah, I thought it was super interesting. Okay, for payments, a decentralized means of doing that. But then at some point, I remember hearing about CryptoKitties and basically games that you could put on chain, and they were unstoppable and decentralized and all that stuff, and basically having a fully programmable decentralized computer. And it blew my mind completely. I got into it. I read all the white papers. I started programming myself. I tried to convince Dolby to get into it. Of course, I didn't succeed there. And that's when I started thinking that, yeah, I want to spend, at least, the next foreseeable future of my life working on this. And that's how I started gathering a team and founding a new company. When Alessandro was the number one to join, then Alan, the other co-founder and CEO, and as well as Ferran, the operations chief of operations. And yeah, that's how I landed in the Web3 space.
This is super exciting. Tony, you mentioned that Dolby didn't want to proceed with the, get into the blockchain space. And this is something really discussed in the Web3 community. When will we see enterprise adoption? What is the blockage? What stops enterprise into entering the space? Well, would it be a volatility? Would it be an uncertainty of technology? Are we still early? As in the music industry, they all say we're still early. There is still something that needs to be done from the technology point of view. So in your perspective, how far are we from the adoption? When will we see really big enterprises seriously stepping into the space?
Okay, so a warning to my answer is that I thought we would be here already. We would be already, being large companies by now, 2024. So I'm probably biased towards the optimistic side. But what I'm seeing and what I saw in Dolby, of course, as well, is that established companies, they already make a lot of money through their standard businesses, right? And they need to be either hugely challenged by others to consider something as disruptive as moving to a decentralized, a place where you give away part of things that they own, right, or they are used to owning. So in order to do that, they either are incredibly challenged by others, so they either move or they stand back and they will lose their advantage and they eventually will disappear or they lose competitivity, or they see a huge opportunity in terms of business to be made, right? Money to be made, right? For established companies. And the way they normally work, I'm sure many people will share this point of view, is that they are most established companies, they don't like risking themselves directly. They prefer seeing others pioneering, exploring the path, all of them failing except for a handful of them, and then acquiring them. That's the model that we typically live in these days, no? So I think that we still have to see disrupting companies that are small and start becoming a little bit big, and then typically they become acquired by others. I think that's probably the pattern that we follow. And we haven't seen those big successes, except for very localized, potential business models that the Web3 can enable.
Not yet, but the bull run is upon us, so everything can change. This is why Web3 space is so exciting. This cycle that we're experiencing, they're very unpredictable. They always unleash new technologies that people who are building in the bear market always come up with something very exciting and innovative. And we never know how the community is going to react to these innovations. And because everything is open source, it's probably the most exciting space and the most fast-moving space. In terms of enterprise adoption, we actually have some very big companies exploring Polkadot, such as Deloitte, for example, with identities. So for those of you watching, stay tuned. We have a lot to showcase, especially in this, say, season, because parachains just came to life, just launched really around 2021. The majority of parachains and infrastructure has just been released. And this is the time, the exciting time for a lot of applications, lots of NFTs. And today we're going to dive deeper into Laos. Alessandro, starting with your experience at the Blockchain Academy. So what happened there? How was your learning path? Who did you meet? How any exciting teams in the ecosystem, and how this idea of the Laos came about? Was it sort of during the time of the academy that you shaped finally your business proposition, or afterwards? Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, Polkadot Academy was really a big moment for the company and for me, because I think the major problem that is in the development point of view is that working in Web3 is a multi-subject thing. So it's very difficult to be maybe only a computer engineer and understand about economy, about consensus, about also cryptographic, so about politics and governance, if you want. So it's very difficult to have the perspective, because maybe no university at the time, I don't know now, but no university prepare yourself for such a rich subject, So this is why when I went to Polkadot Academy, the main thing that I can say that I take from that experience was the fact that when I returned back in Rivers, because the Polkadot Academy is 1 month, or it was 1 month of studying. It was at Cambridge, UK, very nice place actually. And but the best part was that it gave me perspective. So when I returning back, the main thing was that I was able to criticize what we had been done till then. That was okay, but I was able to criticize some points and to propose a new solution to solve these points. And so this is why we decided we had on the table several possibilities. Also, we were thinking about Cosmos at the moment, but the presentation and what I understand about Polkadot during the academy was so deep that we just go all in about Polkadot. And during this month, it was very exciting to meet people like Gavin Wood. I remember I was studying with Gavin Wood about he gave lectures about cryptographic, or many people from Web3 Foundation that are very theoretical, and people that are actually building Polkadot in the core time, like in the core group like Bastian. And it was very nice to chat with them and to understand their way of thinking. That was the best part of the thing. And also the organization was amazing. It was 1 month of lectures, very intense, very, very intense. I think we all worked all the days without there were weekend, but weekend was for study. It was a kind of, because I was 40 years old at the time, and it was a kind of back at school. So a kind of strange experience also, okay, but very productive. And also say thank you to the Polkadot Academy, because the organization was amazing. And actually it was such successful for us that we decided to send another of our workers that is Carla, that joined, I think, the third wave, and she was a successful experience for her. So very nice. And so from that experience, we decided to build Laos. Actually, we found a possibility to work integrating Polkadot, and for many reasons. For example, maybe I can list some of them. The fact that you can create a blockchain from day zero, because you don't have to think about securing the blockchain. Is a very late chain. Polkadot or Kusama or very late chain from architectural point of view that is securing your parachain. So that is a big plus to start without gathering all these people that have to make the blockchain secure. And then another point is the fact that you can upgrade the runtime. Usually the blockchain need to fork. If you follow how many blockchain develop, they need to sync outside the blockchain. All the people is very slow. If you see how Ethereum is evolving and less that is more conservative, Bitcoin, they are very slow. In differently from Polkadot, that just, for example, our blockchain, Laos, we upgrade the blockchain because we are in development and whatever, but almost every 2 weeks. So we add new features and we fix bugs, of course, and in something that is not possible in the other blockchain. And yeah, I don't know, Tony, if you want to add some.
Yeah, I guess well, there are other advantages. I think the main one by far was the fact that we would have all validators already from day one.
Yeah.
That's massive. But also things like we are benefiting from the improvements that others are doing, almost for free, let's say, right? So we're going to have 8 times more throughput very soon because of what's the name of the feature? Asynchronous backing, for example, right? We may start using agile core time pretty soon as well, and things like this. So it's also great that you don't feel alone building, right? You're building, you benefit from others building. Also.
Yeah, the community. And if just the feeling that I am with Polkadot, joining the academy, was that I really liked that they were at the beginning. I'm not saying now. They're very focusing on the tech more than on the marketing, all this stuff. And it really gave me confidence at the beginning. It's a kind of because I had a successful story in my career with Linux that more or less did the same. Was a will of a community of people working without no marketing at all, and then it's just running 80% of the internet. So it gives me confidence, this kind of behavior.
And Tony, Alessandro, when you chose to build an infrastructure, what was the driver behind it, right? Because you could choose to build, let's say, an NFT marketplace, adopt something simple. It is quite complex task to launch blockchain infrastructure. Yeah. So for the founders, what would be your advice for those who are looking at building just an application in Polkadot and sort of taking this small step into Web3 and testing things out and building the whole infrastructure for the company? So how does this infrastructure, how does having an entire blockchain for yourself benefit your business model and your vision for the next years to come?
Good question. Maybe I can start. Well, the first thing, if you want to be a founder or if you want to build an application, think very, very hardly about about whether you want to become a layer one, a parachain, let's say, or just a smart contract and a set of applications that run on top and things like this, of course. And perhaps start small, right? If you just want to explore, start small and find the limitations that you will find by just deploying a smart contract and becoming a standard app. We went that path. We actually started that way. We started building, the first thing we did was build a video game that scaled in a sense as well, in an optimistic sense. Then we needed more. We ended up building a layer 2. We saw the limitations of the layer 2, and now we're building a layer 1, and we're super happy, and we think that we're going to stay here for many years. But before making assumptions about what you're going to be needing and all that stuff, maybe a recommendation is start trying. It's super easy to start trying and hit the wall. If you hit the wall, maybe you hit a different wall from the one you expected. So start trying. I don't know, Ale, if you...
Yeah, maybe one of the aspects of Polkadot also is that is build thinking on scaling. So maybe you want to create a proof of concept in a shared blockchain. For example, if you have a Moonbeam that is an Ethereum-based blockchain, you can create your business there. But then you have the problem of sharing the space, the blockchain space, with other projects. So what happens if some other project succeed and suddenly your project is not working very well or is very expensive? So at that point, to have a parachain for yourself that just exposes your business case, it's very convenient. And actually, you can scale more because now with the concept of core time that will come in Q2, maybe Q3 of this year, it will be very easy to connect your blockchain to the relay chain without going for a crown node. That was what Polkadot proposed in the last 2 years. So they are changing this concept and the step to enter.
And maybe to add as well, maybe one of the advantages that we're finding now becoming a layer one is that it's easier to build a business model on top that is truly decentralized. Because it's easier to base it on a self-sustained economy because you have your own coin, you have things people are used to, like staking, for example, and things like this, right? It's much harder to actually deploy a smart contract somewhere that is truly decentralized without any gatekeeper, without any relayer that's going to be relaying transactions there that you actually control, and with a self-sustained economy. So I think if you are serious about the business model you're building and you want to scale it, then layer one's parachains become a serious possibility to consider.
Yeah, and also if I can add, the community that you bring up as a project, as a parachain, because you have your coin, the people is interesting that the coin succeed, and so we are seeing something that before we didn't see with layer 2. For example, we didn't have a coin with layer 2. We are seeing people that is just expecting for us to publish the real token with value, but they are joining the project and they are working to making content, for example, is the third thing that we saw and was unexpected by our side. Very nice, very nice, very nice that we create a community that is working towards one goal, and that's cool.
Indeed, I cannot agree more that Polkadot community is one of the strongest, most aligned, most vibrant, and it's really a great group of individuals who are here for the purpose of building a better world, embracing decentralization, resilience, and technology, really true third generation blockchain technology. And with that, Tony, Alessandro, I would like you to tell us more, dive deeper into what Freeverse is building. What is your network about? How is your solution going to disrupt industries? What value is bringing? What's your mission and vision?
Okay, so maybe I can start, Ale, and step in anytime. So Laos is a parachain that is leveraging a concept that we've been basically maturing over these last years through the applications we've been building and as well as the layer 2. But now at an extreme. It's something we call bridgeless connectivity. We're publishing everywhere. It's in the white paper. You can read about it. But it's basically, if you think about it, there are a very significant amount of transactions, sometimes around 20 to 30% in Ethereum, in Polygon, in all the ecosystems outside Polkadot, that could be offloaded in a completely secure way to other layer ones, actually making it even more secure than through some of the flows that they are following these days, without any breach required. There are a number of things around it, including, for example, the development of something we call a universal node and things like this, but with a very, very, very minimal, sometimes without any modification at all in the workflows of users and developers in Ethereum, Polygon, all these layer 2s, they could be offloading 20, 30% of all those transactions elsewhere. And this is a massive thing. Think about using LAOs, for example, to mint assets in Ethereum without paying gas fees in Ethereum, and in a secure way. And this is not magic. This is not something that is not secure. It's the opposite to that. And you can read about it, and you can test it yourself if you drop by our landing page. And we're starting with that. We're starting with exploiting bridgeless connectivity initially for the purpose of, for example, offloading mints and evolution and the modification of NFTs in these other chains. Most importantly, without bridges. Of course, building bridges is great. It gives you many other possibilities, but it's also, it comes at a price, right? It comes, there's severe hassles in terms of UX, gas costs, scalability, security, all that stuff. What I'm talking about is really, really bridgeless, instantaneous, and really saving all these costs in Ethereum. So one of the visions that we have for the next year and midterm is that in the next year, people start realizing that this is possible. This is already live. You can try, and they start using it in these major chains. Basically offloading a lot of core time of Polkadot, using all of the core time of Polkadot to leverage the throughput of other chains. So it's not like competing with anyone, but actually expanding what they can do in these other chains. And we're super excited. Hopefully, over this next year, people will realize about it and they will start using it. And our vision is that soon, maybe in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, a significant amount of all these transactions actually go through LAOs and hence through Polkadot to help these other chains. I don't know if you want to add.
Yes, maybe from the, if you want, highlight from a technical point of view, there is this concept that we decided to divide. We saw as an NFT as the sum of two properties. One is the ownership, and the other one is the properties of NFT, the metadata, if you want. So we just divided it. We want to put the ownership in the place that everybody wants the ownership is, like, for example, Ethereum, Polygon. Maybe we can do with inscription in Bitcoin, maybe.
Yeah, perhaps.
It's possible to do with every chain and every layer 2 that is minting NFT. And we just move the metadata in LAOs. And that is the main concept of this allowed, for example, to evolve the metadata very cheaply, to mint new metadata very cheaply. And that's the concept.
So that's like the goal in terms of business. In terms of technology, we are also super motivated. So originally what we wanted to build, we were super ambitious, and we still are in that sense. We wanted to build the first example of a second order relay chain inside Polkadot, right? So this means basically, and this is something that has been theorized and discussed in a number of places. This means basically having a parachain act as the relay chain for other parachains inside it, right? So it goes under the name of quadratic scaling as well sometimes. There are very good reasons why a generic Polkadot inside Polkadot is not a good approach. But if that parachain in that type of scaling is specialized, and it just specializes on one type of things, like one type of transactions instead of every transaction that you could think in a Turing complete system, for example, then it does make sense. So we actually wanted to build that. So all this offloading of transactions can go massive. So not just limited by, again, one layer 1. And it's still on our roadmap. We discussed with the Web3 guys, and we ended up it's gonna be coming over the next year. It's in our roadmap. So with minor modifications on what we initially designed. But yeah, I think we're gonna see over this next year something that a milestone that we're super excited as well in terms of tech that will fuel this business model we talked about before, which is gonna be some sort of sharding-like scaling in a parachain inside Polkadot. Let's see. Hopefully, in 1 year time, we can talk about it, and it's live and people are using it.
This is super exciting. So from your ideal customer perspective, because I see two things here. You have a product for very technical audience, for engineers who understand the benefits of building on top of your infrastructure, but also with NFTs, you have a value proposition for for industries. So who is your ideal industry? What does your ideal customer look like? And what's your initial product market fit idea?
Yeah, so the product itself is the parachain and the interface to the parachain, of course. It's EVM compatible, so anyone using any EVM chain knows how to use ours. With some modifications there, if you want, but yeah. But the ideal customer is anyone who wants to build massive amount of NFTs, mean a massive amount of NFTs in any blockchain they like, without having to migrate all the users somewhere else or being limited to just minting the assets that they think are super valuable, so people will eventually trade them, right? And this goes from video games. Think of a medium-sized video game, right? So just give one NFT to each of your users when you have millions of users. It doesn't. You need to go to a specialized chain, again, centralized typically, to be able to scale and so on and so forth. For the first time, you can do it in Ethereum. You can do it. You can mint millions of assets over a day if you wanted, as it is right now, and in the state in which we are right now, on Ethereum, without congesting Ethereum at all, or in Polygon, or in your favorite layer 2, because your users already have that coin. They don't want to wrap it again or breach their assets and stuff. And they already have all this mature ecosystem where the assets you are given to them, can benefit from DeFi contracts and dApps already there, from OpenSea. Your assets can be on OpenSea and all that stuff. And under the hood, you're using Polkadot, but nobody really cares about it. Your users are super happy in the chain that you selected. So that goes from video games to people that put real world assets or they put millions and millions of NFTs that they want to put on chain for traceability reasons, so on and so forth. So I hope that these two main verticals, like massive amount of real world assets, tokenization of assets, let's say, as well as video games, it takes that they pay attention to this and they start using it. Some of them are going to be migrated from our current layer 2, so they will start using it as soon as we go through the Genesis event. But hopefully many others will follow.
Well, certainly, as the promise is that the world will be tokenized pretty much by 2030, and the market size is very impressive, and certainly there will be many more industries discovering the benefits of tokenization. Now, real estate is already moving forward in comparison to 10 years, 7 years ago. There is really a lot of understanding by traditional industries, by financial industry, by banking industry, that tokenization of assets, also with the Bitcoin ETF approved, we are about to face the true financial revolution in this space. So it's indeed looking very, very promising. And Tony, so if you were to give a call to action to the community, right? Because a lot of Polkadot community are watching us. Who would you like to join you? What are your next steps on the roadmap? What is your plan for Q1 2024? Are you fundraising? What are the big things for Laos this year?
All right. So we are currently on the phase of raising funds for in a private sale of the token. Our plan was end of March, or start auctioning for a parachain in Polkadot. But this is now being seriously reconsidered because in front of agile core time and all these changes that there will be, we're seriously considering becoming one of the first chains that use that, as opposed to going through an auction. But in any case, we're going to be launching the token, the final token with value, etc., at some point in March. Until then, we're basically finishing all the final security considerations. We're implementing the final staking functionality, which we think is super important as well. All the tokenomics is published, everything is out there. So call to action, like an immediate one. Reach out to us if you are interested in this, participating in this Genesis event or afterwards, from the point of view as an investor in the token, but also if you're interested in the capabilities that Laos will put forward. We're also looking for developers, of course, and we're going to be using the token to incentivize of course, like all blockchains, that developers come, try, join, and build interesting projects. So reach out to us if you're either a developer or a potential investor. Beyond that, once the token is live, by the way, everything is behind Laos. It's not Freeverse is just becoming the main, perhaps the main builder, definitely the first main builder. But we're going to go decentralized. Actually, everything is going to be governed by the Laos Foundation, which is in Zug. It's established for more than 9 months, I think, so far already. Mm. So longer term, we really expect these other improvements we're talking about and next milestones in terms of technology, but also the Laos Foundation will take care, as well as Freeverse, that everything around Laos works, so that every other application that is needed, it's really, really important to be there. Third-party payment providers, whatever is needed, that it exists as well. So if you're interested in massively creating NFTs in any chain and using Polkadot for that, reach out to us.
And Tony, we also have an amazing, vibrant ambassadors community. This community helps with content creation, events. So would you be participating in any events or activities in the coming months? And if you need any support with that, I'm also, this is a perfect space and place to reach out to Polkadot ambassadors who will be watching us. Also, Polkadot ambassadors are about to set up a collective, which would be the second collective after fellowship. So this is another innovation that the largest DAO of the world is bringing to the Web3 space, is really accountability, transparency, governance on chain for also non-technical people. So yeah, Tony, Alessandro, what are the plans in terms of interaction with community for the coming months?
Maybe because I'm more onto it than you, Alessandro. Yeah. Oh, definitely. We are trying to build our community as much as possible. Our go-to-market team is actually, we're seeing Nacho passing by. Yeah, he's in that team. They are, there's Discord organized. There are a lot of activities taking place there. We already have 4 ambassadors, as far as I'm aware, and we're looking for more, and for continuing incentivizing the spread of the content, and the explanation of it, etc. We will check onto what you said about this collective. I'm sure they are probably already aware, but I will make sure. And yeah, actually, this is one thing that we love about the Web3 space, all this different way of reaching out. And yeah, so we'll be checking that, but feel free to please go to laosnetwork.io, and there you'll have as well our Discord, Telegram, and standard social media channels.
And we are participating in Sub-Zero.
Go ahead.
Correct. Sub-Zero, we will be there in Bangkok.
Yep.
At Denver also.
Yeah. So in Sub-Zero, we have a speaking slot and a demonstration booth. We're going to go to ETH Denver, of course, to present this to the outside Polkadot as well, because we're connecting both worlds. So from Ethereum to
I think Polkadot has something to Ethereum Denver also. I think so.
Is there?
Yes, Polkadot will have a booth. So those of you who will happen to be at Ethereum Denver, please make sure to pop in. There will be many parachain teams, applications, Polkadot community presenting this year various solutions, and you will have the opportunity to meet the founders, of course, which is super valuable, and ask questions. Also, for those of you interested in investment opportunities, there is always a chance to have in-person meeting and learn more about the teams. Tony, Alessandro, another question that I wanted to touch upon is your revenue model. How are you planning to structure your business? Would it be the token that supports the infrastructure that fuels further developments? Are you planning to do something else? Would there be a product, a B2C product? Are you more focusing on B2B side? How would that work?
Okay, Estevina as well. So here we have to separate completely Freeverse from Laos and the Laos Foundation, right? Freeverse is a private company with private equity that now has just migrated to becoming the main developer of LAOs. The business model for Freeverse is mostly to make LAOs a success through the token, because the current Freeverse investors on Genesis, it's all published, will own 12% of all the token supply. The rest is decentralized. So Freeverse's stake is a most successful potential route in the future is to make that a success through incentivizing, making sure that the network is awesome and that people will donate. If people will donate, we believe the token price will be sustainable and eventually grow. We don't want it just to grow because of hype. We want to grow because people actually use the platform. So that's from the Freeverse point of view. Then from the LAOs Foundation point of view, the LAOs Foundation is non-profit, of course. And again, it's going to make sure that the decentralized governance is effectively implemented with a goal, exactly the same goal, basically, a self-sustained token economy. And that's going to be the main business model. If there are things that need to be done on top, like application, for example, so Freeverse, as part, just to show the stake that Freeverse has on it, no? So Freeverse has built very simple UI applications, right, that people can go there and start minting assets on Ethereum, right? So it's like an onboarding application. We want to stay there. We want to make sure that everybody's onboarded easily, rather than building huge complex applications on top. We would like others to do that, but we're going to facilitate anyone who wants to do that as well. So we're going to be the interface. If you have any doubt, any engineering needs to build your application, Freeverse is perhaps a good contact point that will help you. But the business model is making LAOs used, and hence the token is sustained and the stake goes up.
Thank you. And in terms of your long-term plan, where do you see yourself in the next sort of 5 to 10 years? How many applications? How many projects? or maybe relay chain? What's your long-term plan?
Of course, a lot of them. But okay, in the next 5 years, from a technical point of view, we will push to create the first specialized relay chain for sure with bridgeless minting. So that's the technical goal and long-term idea in labs, and actually is expressed in the white paper. So that's the technical idea, and we hope that we succeed. Of course, I mean we will try hard with exposing what labs does and building community, for example. But that's the technical side. The technical side is specialized relay chain using bridgeless minting and scale massively our use case.
And I think that's something that I think we have clear over the next year, 2 years time. Yeah. But going beyond 2 years, man, in this space,
it's impossible.
It's too far along. Yeah, it changes too quickly. In 2 years' time, maybe the needs are completely different.
And Polkadot is changing so quickly. I mean, it's creating so many new use cases. Now there is the new trustless bridge with Ethereum that is almost going on with Kusama, with what's the name, Bifi consensus, and then the new core time adoption, then the async backing that will bring 8 times more capacity to the parachain. Is incredible how many things are being developed in the ecosystem. It's difficult to stay.
Yeah, for example, the impact of the bridge between Ethereum and Polkadot, the day it's in place, you think about it, all parachains will have access on chain to the root, basically to the state of Ethereum, to the root of the state of Ethereum, so they can prove without having to go to Ethereum or having to bridge anything, they can prove that something exists in a particular form in Ethereum that I don't know that you own to it or whatever you want to prove. So it looks technical, but the amount of use cases that this brings up that were not possible before is huge, actually, if you start brainstorming about it. And this will happen hopefully during this year, right?
Yeah.
So who knows, man, in 3 years' time.
What will happen? Really, it's going so fast.
Indeed, it is exciting because a lot of journalists, a lot of press in the past years were naming Polkadot Ethereum killer, and we were all collectively trying to address the opposite message that Polkadot is Ethereum enabler, that the features, the tech stack that Polkadot offers is actually giving more benefits to the Ethereum community, like easing the gas fees, improving transaction speed. Alessandro, Tony, maybe you have some other comments, like for those who began their journey on Ethereum but sort of hit the wall and don't have scalability, what can they find in Polkadot, especially for application builders? If you're building a DApp, you want to launch NFT collection, what is it that you think is the best thing for them to find in Polkadot ecosystem? What is the value?
100%, I think the community. They are very skilled. I saw so many developers that are very skilled that is inside the Polkadot ecosystem. And I like very much they all help each other. So if you want to start to work with Polkadot or maybe try a project in Polkadot, just contact the community because they are so open to help and everything and very, very skilled. So yeah, that's the first point, to go to the community and start with them. And what Polkadot brings scalability. That's the main. It's actually, I think it's the only secure pattern that is really battle tested about scalability. And so this concept of shared security and on the fact that you can by yourself with one computer that produce block, create your blockchain, because the security is given for Polkadot economically is huge. It's a huge advantage.
I also agree that this is probably the biggest advantage, and I think that it hasn't been highlighted enough or leveraged enough by developers around, because it was hard to get into it, to get your hands into it, and for example, start a parachain, right? To start a parachain, man, you need to go through an auction, all that stuff. And in that sense, I think that these changes that are going to be happening about Agile Core Time, where it's going to take you minutes to start proposing the first block, for example.
And permissionless.
Permissionless. Yeah. I think it's going to be able to show to the world much more easily how scalable Polkadot is compared to the other blockchains in a secure way. So I think I really think it's a good decision, and that it's going to be highlighting one of the perhaps most important aspects of Polkadot.
And from your point of view, do we need many more developers in the ecosystem, or do we need more companies coming in, more brands, more non-tech savvy people? Are we ready as an ecosystem to welcome and support brands and companies who are not familiar with the Web3 technology?
That's a good question.
Will Freeverse support, like if a company, a game comes into and knocks at your door and says, okay, we are ready, we want to explore Web3 journey, would you need this team to have technical expertise, or would you be the team to lean on and you will provide them with the development and technical expertise?
Okay, so you've made two questions, and I apologize, I still had the first one in mind. So on the choice of blockchain for companies, right? So far, and having built the layer 2 and spoken to, I think, everyone that is building anything, any company is building anything on a blockchain, when they look at the spectrum of choices they have, very quickly over the last years, they found at least one or two places, if the project is interesting, one or two places that were giving them a lot of money just to be there. So I think a lot of blockchains, I don't want to name them, are investing so much, so heavily in attracting interesting projects, especially big names, because they think they are going to be building inertia, and that this is the key factor to their success, right? I don't think Polkadot has been doing that, and I respect that, I must say. I don't think it's a long-term good decision to just burn your cash trying to attract projects even if it doesn't make sense perhaps in a tech for many reasons, right? But I've seen so many projects. They just picked up the phone and, hey, can you be in X? Can we be in Y? Why are you so interested in Y? Oh, because they're giving us money, right? So I think Polkadot we believe in Polkadot, and we've been explaining why. I think it's good that they didn't take this route. I think it's good they highlight the possibilities they have that others don't have, which Agile Core Time will bring, I think. And I don't know what else is missing for companies to really, well, I don't know, Alessandro, you have
the killer application, maybe.
Killer application. Maybe, yes, maybe things that you
Just
could only do in
one
Polkadot.
thing.
Yeah.
One thing that works, and the ecosystem will go.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm with you on the side of sustainable growth and really smart investment and smart support for really long-term dApps and companies who are really exploring doing small steps, but doing the right steps. So this technology is here to stay and not for the hype. We've seen a lot of hype in 2020, 2021. And from my perspective, as I talk to lots of projects, lots of companies, this is changing because a lot of them are now appreciating the utility angle. And this is where Polkadot really is a #1 ecosystem, because from recent conversations, we are perceived as a serious ecosystem, which is a good thing. So if anybody of you have ever participated in Sub-Zero or Polkadot Decoded, you would know that all the conversations that happen in the lobby outside of the stage environment are all about technology. You will find real builders. This is the environment for real builders who respect value, innovation, decentralization, and this is really, really exciting. This is what education as well, right? Polkadot Academy is really providing, for the first time, actually, all the lectures, all the materials have been put in the open internet. So it's open source, just like the code is open source, education material are open source, and Polkadot Academy team is really being very generous by sharing lectures, open talks, and sharing a lot of resources and materials with the students and everybody who is curious about how to join Polkadot, how to build here, develop applications, but also become a founder. So it is an exciting space, and we are looking forward to welcome many more applications and many more businesses. And we are approaching the end of our live stream today, and I would like to ask you for the final remarks. Alessandro, Tony, what is your advice to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to enter the Web3 space and want to build in Polkadot? What is your message to them?
To be courageous in a way, but it's an adventure space. So as when we introduce ourselves, we both say that we are always searching for new challenges. This is a place where people that like challenges can grow. And where there are challenges, if you want to put on success, there could be a lot of success. So, I mean, it's a good space to be in. So it is, if you are this kind of people, in my opinion, from the development point of view, that we are very excited about the edge of the technology, just go full in. It's everything is to be built. Honestly.
Yeah, same thing. It's an adventure. I think it's one of the very few really serious layer ones or layer zeros, if you wanted, out there, together with Ethereum and very few others that are not centralized or significantly centralized. And I think it's wonderful to build that way. So if you really believe in the Web3 values, you have very few choices. And if you want to also scale, then you almost only have Polkadot as a choice. So if you don't care so much about it, then maybe you can consider other options. But if you do care, then it's your choice.
Alessandro, Tony, thank you so much for joining us today for this inspiring conversation. Last question, because before we wrap up, where can people reach you? Where are you most active? X, LinkedIn, social media, email, websites, anything that's most, where also find your team members and who would be point of contact for, let's say, people who want to build applications or any other inquiries?
Great. Discord is the answer. We are active in almost all social media channels, but definitely go to Discord, and there you will be conducted to the part of the team that is more relevant to you. So just go to laosnetwork.io and find the Discord symbol at the bottom and just join. We're welcoming you.
Thank you so much. This has been a really great conversation. Thank you for your time, for your insights, and thank you for everybody watching us and joining. If you have any questions, please reach out, leave your comment below. We will try to answer all your inquiries, and see you in the next episode. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Pleasure.